I was talking to my older brother. He was always into computers and tech when we were younger. When I went to music camp, he went to computer camp, coding
Sure.
camp, and he at the time was working at the NIH doing all kinds of brain research and medical research. And he saw the earliest days of the internet back
Mm,
in the early 90s, because that's where it was. It
yeah.
was in the government, it was in academia, it was in that field. And so he says to me, have you ever heard of this thing called the internet? Now it sounds like a crazy
Of
question,
course. No. Yeah.
but back in 93, 94, no one had heard of it. That was quite a reasonable question. And he says, all right, I'm coming to New York, I'll tell you all about it. And we look at it and we're like, this is going to change the world. This
Yeah.
is so exciting. And we didn't know how, we didn't know what, we didn't know when, but it was so exciting to just see where it was going to go. It was actually just when the web was about to start. It was pre-web, all text, but it was connecting computers. It was connecting people. It was connecting information. And one of the core values that drives everything I do is connection. That's what actually drives my music, is about connecting with others, connecting with myself, connecting with the universe. And so even though it had nothing to do with music per se, it did tap into the value of connection. And that's what sparked my interest, my curiosity. And I just leaned into it so naturally because I knew nothing about programming or technology, but I knew about connection. I knew about possibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he and I then said, we should just jump into this and see where it goes. Now, remember, this is just as Yahoo was starting to form its browsable directories. This is when Netscape was just getting going. I mean, these are the earliest of times.
Yeah.
And so this is pre-Google. This is pre any of that. Amazon didn't exist, none of it. So we were just so curious and we got into it. And then we built a company called EarthWeb. And for many years, we were the preeminent web building shop. We built some of the largest websites on the internet, from the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City to the New York Stock Exchange, to many, many others. And then we actually had a whole network of websites for techies. So it was like tech websites for tech people. And the biggest one till today is dice.com, the job board career site for tech people. So you're looking to find a job, and that's where you would go. So we built all of that over the course of a bunch of years, took that public in the late 90s, right at the kind of the peak of that insane roller coaster. So in 98. And, I was 27 and we took the company public after starting it when I was about 22. We had venture capitalists and investors, and we had hundreds and hundreds of employees, and it was an incredible ride.
Yeah.
And even till today, on places like LinkedIn and Facebook, all of our employees formerly who are just out there in the world now, some of which got married, some of which had kids together, some of which, they all come back every now and then to these posts and post pictures and memories and all recounting kind of what a golden era that was of, all of us in our 20s or early 30s and just building something and having fun and being creative. And it was a really golden era time.
You were on the precipice. You were right there on the precipice of the whole thing. That's amazing.
And we were stumbling as we went. We were figuring it out as all of us were, because it was all so new.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that music actually played an integral role during that time, because we had this gorgeous office on Park Avenue in New York City, overlooking the whole world. It was stunning, on the 38th floor of this gorgeous skyscraper, and I had a piano, Roger, in my office, because I never wanted to lose touch with music. It was so important to me, but it was important to me as a personal practice. It was important to me as my own personal expression. And so people would ask, in the evening, like, oh, where'd Murray go? We need him for, oh, he's in his room, he's in his office playing the piano. So I always played at the end of every crazy startup day, so that I was fresh, ready, balanced for the next day. And that's how I would always reset and kind of manage through the stress. So even back in that early period, I was using music in this way.
Way healthier way to decompress than 3 bourbons. So
that's right.
way better.
That was never my thing.
Yeah, way better. So what happened then? Because if you went public in 97, you still had a couple great years in the market before the 2000 crash. So how long were you part of EarthWeb, and when did you finally step away from that?
Yeah, so we took it public. We
Yep.
then did a whole series of acquisitions with our incredible stock and cash,
Yeah.
and we built the company further with about 24, 25 acquisitions of other
Jeez.
websites. And I spearheaded that part of the strategy personally, with a team that would travel around the country, and I would meet with entrepreneurs that had, small websites, larger companies. I mean, it ranged from a 16-year-old who built a website for certain kinds of tech, and we bought his company for $3 million.
16-year-old kid. That's
And
great.
his parents had to come and sign off on the paperwork. I mean, that's what those days were.
Yeah.
All the way to to acquisitions that were in the 40 million plus range,
Wow.
and put them onto our platform and then grow them.
Yeah.
And so we were able to completely restructure the company during that turbulent period, because advertising disappeared from the market during that time. Advertisers got spooked, and things went up and down, and that dried up. And so our advertising business model on all those eyeballs got really threatened.
Yeah.
But then we had this other part of the business with Dice, which we grew tremendously, which was a subscription business, which was a business that was companies paying to post jobs, right?
Yeah.
So not advertising based. Well, I guess you can call it classified advertising, but again, it was not, for banner ads or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so that subscription model enabled us not just to get through that period, but we were extremely profitable going through that complete change. And then we shed the parts of the business that were dragging that profitability to unleash that profitability. So that was a big kind of repositioning time, pivoting time, and we had to shed what was not working, because you're working on a lot of things at the time, and then we had to really focus and work on what was going to be profitable, and we did. And that company continues till today. It's a multi-$100 million company, and we're very proud of it. But I stopped being involved. I was on the board after for a number of years, and then eventually left the board as well in the early 2000s. But then my brother and I started another company called Vista Research, and that was, when you run a public company, you're always meeting in front of hedge funds, mutual funds, big institutional investors, and they're always asking questions, of course, not just about your company, but they're trying to pick your brain about the industry, right? You're the industry expert. So they want to know, hey, what do you think about this company? What do you think about that company? This trend, that trend. And so we said, why don't we turn that into an actual business? What if we could put industry experts in front of institutional investors in a scalable way?
Yeah.
And so we did. We built Vista Research, and then just 4 years later, we sold that to McGraw-Hill, Standard & Poor's, and that was a wonderful, deal, all cash deal, and our investors and us. That was just a 3-4 year run on that, and then I continued to invest in different things. One of the companies called eBility was an investment I made around that time, and it continues to thrive to today. Again, I love subscription business models. Dice was a subscription business model. Vista was subscription, with the hedge funds paying for their annual subscription, a very high-end subscription, like $50,000, $100,000 subscriptions, but it was a subscription business. And then eBility, which was this other investment I made, subscription business for small businesses, SMBs, small businesses and medium businesses, to track time for their staff. And so, right, on your phone, you can track hours, track time, and then submit it into payroll or invoice it out like a lawyer would, or an architect would, or even your home repair, electrician, plumber, that kind of thing. So we built that, and it's thriving till today, with tens and tens of thousands of people using it on the go, and tracking their time, and helping be more productive. So I love subscription businesses, and so that was kind of the tech evolution, and then I guess in my mid-30s there was just a I mean, to call it a bump in the road is an understatement. There was a real tragedy and jarring experience that, completely rocked my world, which was the death of my little sister, and I was with her.
Oh.
And so there was an accident, and she was only 23. And so, everything came to a screeching halt in my life.
Yeah.
And, you just have to deal with what's right there in front of you, and dealing with the pain, and how do I, get up tomorrow? And so, I turned to what I knew, which was music, to heal through that. And that's really the way I came back to the music in a deep way, because, everything else, just falls by the wayside when you're confronted with that kind of life situation.
Yeah. And you were coming right off a really successful 10-year run, I mean, it's
like life was good. Like, things were going one into the other, and then this happened, and it really was devastating at the deepest level. And so, and so I turned to music to kind of heal through it. And at the other end of that journey, and not that the journey's ever over, you're always kind of in that journey in some way. But there was a kind of a transmuting of that kind of pain and trauma that really opened up into a deeper love for my sister and for everything. And I just found such a beauty through the music in all of it, even through that tragedy, maybe because of that tragedy in some strange way. And so I decided that I wanted to share this music and this experience that I had with others. And that's when I made that real kind of shift in my life.